Hey, everybody, welcome to tonight's late night happy hour. Brian Kamenetzky and Andy Kamenetzky coming to you. It is, of course, Tuesday, and we will be joined shortly by Victoria Jacobi. Count on Vic. You know her as that. Here she is. We're going to try to make this work, and hopefully she can hear us now. We can see her and we can hear her.
Can you hear us?
Having trouble hearing us.
Now it's working. I don't know what happened before.
Oh,
excellent.
Here's what went wrong. So a lot of times we like to play games on this show. We like to do stuff. We like to have fun, things like that. And I was like, one of the things that we thought we'd have some fun with tonight is the NBA is thinking of expanding by 2 teams to try to recuperate some of that money that they lost in the pandemic, that they're continuing to lose during the pandemic. And so I was like, oh, we could play a fun game with like state capitals. Ran that by Andy. Andy's response was eek, which I appreciated. That means you might lose. Ran it by Vic, who reminded us that she's not actually born in this country and may not know all the capitals.
Guys, please don't judge me based on this, please.
No, we're not. No, if anything, it would have added more of a triumph to you when you eventually beat me in a game of state capitals of a country you weren't even born in. Like, it would have been even more humiliating for me.
And the idea
with the states, though, like I used to do those Sporkle, get all the states under 8 minutes or 10 minutes, and I always used to get that right. So,
oh, you'd have crushed me. I think there's absolutely no way around this now. You would have destroyed me.
Shades on?
Yeah, you can leave them on, and so we'll put ours on as well. Only one of us has an eye infection.
We're all in this together.
Yeah, I was going to explain the shades. Victoria was not starting out this show big timing us from the beginning or big timing the audience, anything like that. She has an eye infection and a sensitivity to light, and she had been concerned. She expressed to Brian that she would look silly doing it like this. So we said, no, you won't. We'll join you. We're going to all be in sunglasses.
This is my aesthetic. So this is the Vic aesthetic. No, it's actually it's not even bad. It's just my right eye right here has a vein. It's red. It's annoying me. Light.
Look, we are nothing if not accommodating, Vic. You know this.
I know. Thank you.
Yeah, my only problem is I can't wear sunglasses I can't take off my regular glasses and wear my sunglasses because then I can't see. So I have to actually be this. I have to do this.
Then contacts. Do you not use contacts?
Not usually. I have them upstairs. I have 1 pair left.
Oh, it's so much anxiety when there's 1 pair left.
I know. But I generally just wear glasses at this point. How are you? It's good to see you.
I'm great. I'm drinking my wine. I'm in LA. I'm with my friend here and just got away from New York a little bit. You guys know I'm here a lot though. So every few months for work, but this was kind of just like me stepping away from the snow and the cold.
It's important to have somewhere to summer or winter, I should say. Like, do you want to winter somewhere warm?
Yeah, no. January and February also in New York, regardless of COVID, always very miserable because it's beautiful in November, December. The city is gorgeous, very well decorated. You get that first snow, and then it's just kind of like January 1st hits and it's dead.
I'm discovering right now, by the way, because we always tweet out updates, what's going on in the show, what we're talking about, that sort of thing. It's much harder to type indoors wearing sunglasses. Like, I am having a very difficult time. I'm not a great typist anyway, but
it was a running joke. I was telling Brian, every summer at Mello's gym, I would just walk in with shades and I would always they would get pictures of me in the back photobombing the players with my shades on because I was so tired, because usually the boys would be in town, like James Harden, Paul George. Vic, you're making a lot of noise.
Quiet on the set, please.
No, I used to every time the guys would come in, it would usually be Fashion Week. So we would have a full day at the gym and then Fashion Week events and then Fashion Week after parties. And it was me, Brick, and all these players. And would go to bed at 3, 4 a.m. and then we would have to be at the gym at 9 a.m. So it was just a crazy schedule. So I was just like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to be in all these pictures looking crazy. So, which I still ended up being, you know, but
here's you being tired with Ray Allen, for example.
Nike headquarters. That wasn't even like, yeah, that was a whole other thing. I don't know why I look like his personal bodyguard, but
well, it's because you're wearing the
Fuck with
sunglasses.
Ray Allen.
Yeah, you look intimidating. Like you're the badass in the sunglasses who's a foot and a half shorter than Ray Allen, yet still capable of protecting him. So back off, man.
so funny to me. Like I just look ridiculous.
What is the who's the woman in John Wick? Is it 3 or 2?
Stefan. Oh, thank you, Stefan.
Stefan or Stefan saying Vic is legit the queen of NBA Twitter. That's a fact.
Listen,
that's actually a fact.
So many amazing women who tweet about basketball and the NBA and the WNBA that I admire. You know? So, I mean, it's great to be mentioned. Thank you.
Give some recommendations, by the way.
Okay. Well, one of my favorite follows is my really good friend, Nitz. She's really funny. Huge Warriors fan. And then on the W side, I would say definitely follow my friend Meredith Merminks. She's awesome, and she also works for Bleach Report. So she always holds it down on the women's side, and she's an amazing photographer too. So
okay, cool.
Follow
Is this another day where you retired?
guys, this was an interview I did at the Bleach Report court in New York at the office. They have a court, and this was right after I got off a helicopter because my friend for his birthday decided to go on one of those helicopters with the windows with the doors down. So my hair was looking crazy, everything was looking crazy, and I was like, you know what? Let me just put these shades on and roll because I'm not. I don't know what I was thinking. But that was like,
yeah, this one was definitely more stylish. This is you being more stylish. I like that one a little better.
That's also at Nike headquarters. Like that's, you know, that was like an event that I did. So
I got to be honest with you. When you were telling me that before and you sent me that photo, like I assumed that when you said that you were tired on those days, you always were tired, that was a euphemism for something. But when you actually explain the schedule that you're talking about here, you were actually tired. Like you were going to bed late because you were doing work stuff.
Yeah, we used to go nonstop, and those 2 weeks always were crazy. So the boys, like I said, they would come in. So 9-10 a.m. you start at the gym, you're done by 2. Then Brick had like a million things that he had to do, and then we would go to Fashion Week events starting 4 or 5 p.m. Then the after parties, you know how New York goes. Like we go till 4 a.m. and then he would sometimes like FaceTime me and go, oh, we got Chris Paul tomorrow. I need like photographers. We need to make sure everybody's on. Like, I need to make sure there's not that many people in the gym. And it was just craziness. And I would hold that down, and then everybody would just roll in super tired. Like even the players were tired. The only player ever was probably Russell Westbrook that just had his shit together at all times. Like this man is.
Well, he's regimented, man. He is famously regimented.
You know, like there's nothing like as much as I love James Harden and Chris Paul and all those guys, and everybody was always there and putting up 110%. Russ was the guy that was like, I'm here at like 9 a.m., you know, so walking in. So that was, Russ is a character. He's just so good at everything.
But that's an interesting point though, because like, you know, so fans will often make a big deal out of, you know, this guy's got this thing going on off the court and this, that, whatever. And obviously you can't be out, you know, if you're, you know, every night until 3-4 in the morning trying to, and then turning around and trying to play. But like when they balance this other stuff, I mean, the LeBron stories doing Space Jam are kind of famous. The Jordan stories doing Space Jam are kind of famous. Like, I mean, the amount of working out that they do while they do this other stuff, they don't quit the basketball stuff.
No,
it doesn't.
Like, I mean, that's something that you learn, you know, like as a fan, you have those misconceptions and you think A, B, and C. Right? Like you always want to judge and be like, why are these guys not in the gym? Or they're tweeting, or, you know, they're at a fashion show, or they're out. Every other second that they're not doing that, they're playing ball and they're getting better at what they do. And that's why I always say, like, even if you guys don't see the videos and the pictures, like there's guys that train, you don't even know who they train with and how long they train. And then there's guys that are very open with it, that like showing it. Like one guy that doesn't like doesn't like to show it. Book is another guy that does, like, Book trains with his dad. Not a lot of people know that about him, and he just gets in. No one sees any of that footage. You know what I mean? And then there's guys that are more comfortable showing it, like CJ. Like, CJ's stuff is dope. Like, he used to come to the gym a lot, and he works very hard with Brickley every summer, and he was in there, you know, for hours, and he was very happy to be in those videos and show that process. So it really just depends. But once you're in that world, you go from being a fan who doesn't know anything about anything. You just see what you see, and you want to have those, you know, ideas about what's good or bad for these athletes. And then you actually see how they go about it. It's definitely a little bit of a shock. You know, you see everything differently.
One more rare photo that I unearthed of Vic. I don't think she even knew that I had this one, but there's also Victoria out during her regular NBA regimen, just out with the players. This is just a typical night for Vic, Count on Vic.
This was actually All-Star 1989.
Wow, you've really been at this a long time, Vic.
You have aged fabulously.
I wasn't even around in 1989, guys. But
yeah, shut up.
Okay, seriously, Vic, get the hell off this show. Like seriously, go.
Actually, now I have actually found one more picture of it. It's a rare picture of Victoria where she's not wearing sunglasses. There she is.
Also, definitely me.
That was Vic after, like, you know, that was one of the tougher nights after a fashion show. 3 or 4 nights of that in a row where you're not sleeping well. And you feel it, you know, your skin doesn't bounce back. I mean, I credit you for trying to smile there, but the vision is clearly going.
Yeah.
You've grayed. So do you know how that is?
Horrible. I don't know.
that is beloved children's book author Beverly Cleary.
Oh, wow.
She's, I think, like 98 or something. Like
no, she's like 102.
104.
She's like 102 or 103 years old. I mean, it's amazing. She is well past 100.
This is Vic on day 3 of Fashion Week. This is Vic at the end of Fashion Week. How it starts, how it's going.
Ryan's like, is this what the kids do?
That's right. This is what they do.
Wow.
How it starts.
I love it.
How it's going. I am so hip. This is going very well.
I'll take it.
Shout out to Ben Lyons, by the way. He's in the chat right now joining us.
Shout out Ben. I need to call Ben while I'm out here.
Ben wasn't sure he'd be awake during this. He's on the East Coast right now.
Ben's Knicks are playing really well. Shout out my boy Julius Randle, because when I was talking shit when Julius was on the Lakers and I said this man was going to be a problem, people...
Look, you're talking to 2 longtime residents of Randall Island. Like, this was, for a while, this was real estate that you could really spread out. Like,
there were not
you could
get islands that anybody wanted on the Lakers and within the Lakers organization for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could really buy some great real estate, like beachfront with tons and tons of private sand, and now everybody's catching up. Randall is talented. He's also a really good guy. Like, I'm happy to see him having this season because we both just like him.
I know, and his son is the cutest kid.
Oh my God. Yeah, I haven't seen recent pictures, but I remember from before, like, I mean, it's absurd. Like, really stupid cute.
Ben Lyons saying I was not on Huertas Island.
But
the catalyst.
Yeah, no, I was actually like a huge Knicks fan. Like, I was always a Laker fan, but the other team that, you know, growing up obviously in New York, coming from Israel at 13, New York was home after that. But when Melo came to the city, you know, I've always been a Melo fan since Syracuse, you know, as a kid watching him. So I basically, any game that the Knicks played that wasn't against the Lakers, I was like, you guys better go win that. But you know, I'm happy for Mel. Mel's in a situation right.
But let's not, because the Knicks may never be 4-3 again, like ever. Like, it may never happen again. Like, so are you? I mean, I know we were on a conference call with Ben earlier in the day, and he was like, you know, They haven't been, over 500 in January since like 1978, and he was going through all these other stats. And I did point out to him, like, the season started 2 weeks ago, so like they got a benefit there. But like,
I mean,
if there's even like a little, like, do you get excited, like a little hint of something? Does New York like how much success does it take before people start freaking out over the Knicks?
Other than Sixers fans, I don't think I've ever met, like, even Laker fans are crazy. Yes, we're crazy, but a little more subdued, like in the sense that Laker fans, if you're trash, they'll tell you that you're trash. Like, you'll feel it if you're in the arena. I feel like the Knicks do that too, but the Knicks fans will have so much resilience when it comes to their team. It's really something I have never seen before. And I still say this, like, I love going to different arenas, and Staples obviously is my second home, but the Garden, there's some feel about the Garden that's unreal. And I think a big part of that obviously is the fans, but Knicks fans are crazy. You can ask them this fan last night, you could ask them, and they would say that they have a pretty good chance at anything. So I respect it. As someone who, during the hard times, I believe Jordan Clarkson would take us to the finals. Thanks to the fan, like, there's not much else, but I love the Knicks. I love that team. There's a few guys on that team that I know personally and are great guys, like Julius, and I'm just happy to see everybody flourishing, especially my guys on the Nets. Speaking of New York, but it's weird. It's weird seeing, like, also, like, D'Lo was in New York with Brooklyn for a couple of years and kind of got used to that, and then D left, and now Spencer and Karras are still there, but it's still a weird shift almost, because as good as, like, I always felt for the year and a half that D'Angelo was playing the way he was playing for the Nets, I always felt like he was the best player in New York at that time, especially for that second season he was with them. And still, like, the Knicks had more, like, Knicks players would have more hype or whatever. But now it's Kevin and Kai. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Well, that's the thing about it. I mean, it's like, the Lakers, it doesn't matter how many stars the Clippers have, how many more wins they have. Even if the Lakers don't have enough, like, the same amount of good players, they're always going to be the team that gets the front headline on the the LA Times, or leads the broadcast, or whatever it's going to be. Like, the Lakers being bad and without stars is a bigger story than the Clippers being good with stars. And that's not necessarily fair. It's just how the world works here.
Talk your shit. I love it, because
this is true.
These 7 Clipper fans out here think they got something going. What it is. But no, it's funny, but there's so much talent now in that Clipper team. It's kind of hard not to talk about them, whether it's good or bad. And it's funny because, like, I've always been a huge Paul George fan, but always. When that man got hurt, do you guys remember that crazy injury he had?
Yeah, the broken leg.
It literally broke his leg.
It was awful. It was so gross. It was horrible.
As a fan of his, it was devastating. And I remember that first season with OKC. I believe that was the year that Nike took over from Adidas for the jerseys. And I was in LA covering that. And Paul was there. It was Paul, KD, and Blake Griffin. And I got to talk to Paul for a little bit. And one of the questions I asked was, you're one of the best two-way players in the league. Do you, what else do you think you can work on moving forward with this new season? He's like, well, first of all, thank you so much for asking that and saying that. But, I want to go from being one of the best to the best two-way player. And he's had so many ups and downs since then. But what bothered me, as a fan, forget my work for a second, was the way the storyline kind of went. And he shifted that, because Laker fans, pretty much, we thought he was a done deal. for us.
It's not just the Laker fans that thought he was a done deal.
Oh,
The Lakers.
It was the Lakers.
Clearly. I mean, like if you look at everything that they did for like a year and change leading up to Paul George eventually going to OKC, and then even like the possibility of him coming to the Lakers after OKC. Like I've said this many times, but eventually there's going to be like an oral history or a documentary or something about like this period of NBA history. Paul George is going to end up one of the most unexpectedly pivotal characters in that story. Like the ripple effect from Paul George and some of the decisions that he made or decisions around him, the butterfly effect is like 10 different teams. Like it's really crazy how important Paul George was in everything.
Yeah, I mean, those Pacer years, I wasn't always a huge Heat fan, a fan of those Heat teams, but those were some of the most exciting playoff games, right? Those Pacers, like Bron and Paul George going.
Oh, they were great.
And that's kind of where I found my appreciation for Paul. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about how long he's been in the league and how much, like you said, how much of an impact he's had. And listen, at the end of the day, I'm a fan.
Right.
Media will turn and twist things, and sometimes players don't realize, the things they will say will be interpreted in certain ways. But
I mean, it's funny. Like I will admit, Andy and I, as we drove through Palmdale last week to get the kids up to Wrightwood to go sledding, in the snow, we gave a little like wagging finger at Palmdale for not delivering Paul George appropriately.
I was going to say
all the shenanigans they pulled.
It felt, by the way, I even texted this to Brian because as the story will explain, we had a lot of downtime and stopped time. There was all of this construction going on in Palmdale.
Couldn't get out.
We could not get out of Palmdale. It was impossible. Like every single GPS took us directly to this area that it's called, like, I think the Pearl Blossom Highway, that was closed and like closed for the entire thing. And we just could not leave. And we were like, you know what, man, this is like karmic payback for all the Paul George jokes and shit that basically have gone on this show that we weren't necessarily.
Well, that's not true. Because I mean, I know because the next thing I was going to say, Vic, is that, George is one of those guys too. Like the jokes, unfortunately for him, kind of write themselves. And like social media, it's not right. It's not always right and fair and whatever, but like, it's sort of just the way the world works. And sometimes, like you say, like he's not, or maybe I said, like he's not always great at sort of saying the right thing at the right time in the right way. It is not easy to do. And I feel bad, like, 'cause you almost get to the point where like Paul George right now is playing as well as anybody in the league, and you can forget how good he is.
Everybody's argument is that he does that during the season. He's always in the MVP conversation, and then playoffs come around, and it's the whole playoff like people just go in on that, which I get. But guys say certain things that fans will remember and hold on to, and then make jokes about, like the Kyrie about, oh, it's nice to have a guy that can close out, and they both miss game winners, and then that's just every time that happens now. Instead of just like, oh, they couldn't close out a game, it's, oh, let's bring that sentence back that one of the guys said, and this is what it is now, and we're just gonna run with this. Again, fine, but like with PG, the funny, it's like Michael Jordan left the game of basketball to go play baseball. Like, can you guys like imagine Twitter during that day? Like, it's just.
Well, especially too, because at the time there was, and I include myself in this, there was not enough of awareness of, holy shit, Michael Jordan is managing to play AAA baseball, having not double A, without having picked up a bat in like 10 to 15 years. Like what he's doing is incredible. And we were all so busy.
I mean, I think your point is like people would have freaked the fuck out. Like they would have
absolutely
about it now, but imagine in real time.
Yeah,
the jokes. Like this man really was like, what? It just doesn't. Things happen. Also, once you get to know some athletes, like you really see that these guys. It's just so different because a normal person doesn't act that way. Like there's guys that are, yes, very low key, but there's guys that are so wired all the time. It's almost like you can't keep up. Like if you try working, like that's why I always say this, like any assistant or anybody that runs an athlete's life, it's ridiculous because they are very smart, but they don't really know how to sometimes express themselves, or like I said, they're always wired and there's so many ideas and so many things. There's guys that like completely know who they are and are very, present. And then there's guys that like, there's a guy that's a top 5 player in the NBA that I know that, he's very, very tall and he thinks he can just, oh yeah, let me go get food outside. Like nothing happened. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, you can't do that, sir. Like this is a major city and you are very tall and everybody knows who you are. But some guys just don't have the awareness. It's so funny to see that because like
the way that hint of very, very tall, I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
Totally, you gave it away, Vic. I know exactly who this is.
Tall human being.
Yeah. You should disguise this a little better.
That is one of the things that I think is hard though. It's like they can't hide. Guys cannot hide.
He's not a guard either. He's not like 6'3". Like he can't be like, oh, I'm Trey or Dame. Like he's a big guy. You can literally be like, oh, this is somebody, even if you don't know basketball.
What's crazy about it though too is like I was walking around like you cover the NBA, you're around the NBA and all that kind of stuff. Jeez, man.
a lot of me doing this,
Yeah, but like you start to get to a point where you're getting used to interviewing guys and talking to guys, being around guys like somebody who's 6'6" in a locker room full of 9 other guys who are 6'6" or 6'10" or whatever. They don't seem tall. I walked by Trevor Ariza a few weeks ago. I was taking my daughter out for a walk, had her in the stroller, and Trevor rounds the corner and I didn't stop or anything, but like the first thing I noticed was like, holy fuck, that guy is really tall. And then I was like, oh, it's Trevor Ariza. But like, if you see somebody, and Trevor's, I think 6'8", if you see somebody who's 6'8" just walking around, it's like they just left the circus. Like you don't know what to do with these people. And like, that's before you even get into they're a public figure and all these, just the challenge of being comfortable out knowing people are going to be looking at you just for your height, even if they don't know who you are, has got to be a weird thing. Yeah,
no, definitely. But some guys are just like, me? Like, you, bro. Like, you're 6 foot, 17'4". Like, what?
6 foot, 17'4". Yeah, that's tall. I mean, when you really break down those numbers, that's super tall.
Because
we will edit out.
I'm going to figure out what that is while you guys talk.
Well, Andy's like, well, she's drunk.
No,
that's okay.
Look, I mean, like you explained at the top of the show, you're from out of town. This could just as easily be like a metric system thing. Like, I mean, you may just be talking about a different measurement system altogether.
I'm exaggerating. It's guys, it's a Kevin Hart Shaq joke because
yes.
Kevin has this joke since he's had since forever about Shaq wanting to be a cop. No, that's not Kevin Hart. It's Cat Williams, which is funnier. That makes it funnier. So Cat Williams has this joke. He's like, oh, I'm friends with Shaq. I don't know why Shaq thought that he could be a cop. Like, Shaq, you're 6 foot, 12 foot, 7. That's one of the jokes.
Well, he certainly could have never done undercover work. There may be nobody on the planet less equipped to be an undercover cop than Shaq.
Yeah, he's like, please step out of the car. And he's like, can you make a free throw?
You want to sell me some marijuana?
It's the cop equivalent scene of Kareem as the pilot in Airplane. Like, you're not buying it. So I figured it out. 6'17" is either 23 feet 4 inches tall, or it's 7'9". I'm not sure. It just depends on whether or not, if it's 6'17" for, like, if the 17 is 17 more feet, or if that's 6'17" and then 4 more inches after that. So it's one or the other.
Whatever's more, whatever's higher, taller, is whatever Taco Fall is. Because I met Taco last draft week, a year and a half ago, in New York at Slam, because we were doing interviews for the Slam show. And it was me and my co-host Kaz and Adam Figman, the editor-in-chief of Slam, was like, oh, we got Taco coming. I was like, okay, cool. I did not realize how tall Taco was. Shout out to Taco, but there are literally pictures where, and Kaz, mind you, my co-host, is a 6'4" man. Like, he's tall. And when I tell you, Taco's arm was on him like this, it was like one of those moments when you're like, this is not real. This is not my life. And this is like a superhero. Like, it's just crazy.
I'm just glad, like, he's in the league, because, like, I can't think of much worse than being as tall as Taco Fall and not being able to, like, make basketball useful.
Like, I'm sorry. Did we see how much the Pistons paid big men that can't do much? Like, I wish I was like, I could get a $20 million a year deal to play. Well, not the Pistons.
So you wouldn't take the money from the Pistons?
But absolutely take the money and just, pull the good old who's the guy I was thinking about just now? Not Steven Adams.
Oh, Plumlee?
No. I was thinking about, he's not even in the league anymore. Sean
Bradley?
The guy with the beard, the white guy, tall white guy with the beard on the Lakers when we won in 2009 and 10. They just did nothing.
Tall white guy with a beard.
Adam Morrison?
Adam Morrison. Yes.
Oh, God. We covered Adam and really liked him. This just took a very turn.
I was like, Shannon Brown's name, and I was like, that's not Shannon.
My wife still refers to Adam Morrison as the Wow Wow baby because he cried when he was on the floor with Gonzaga, which I always think is kind of tough. Like, oh, is that the Wow Wow baby?
I got Sucre, Robert Sucre. Sucre.
Robert
Sucre is sugar.
That is true. Robert Sacre was he's a very tall man. He's a very big dude. Really nice guy, too.
Never had a beard, though, I don't think.
Also another Gonzaga guy, correct?
Yes, that's what I said.
They both went to Gonzaga.
I don't know why I remember. I retain the wildest Lakers information that you do not need to know.
Well, look, you're talking to people whose avatar on their Twitter handle is Slava Medvedenko, and I named my I named my fantasy team after Von Wafer and Slava Medvedenko. You remember Von Wafer?
You guys know that me and Chick Hearn have the same birthday, November 27th.
I did not know.
No,
that.
Now you know.
Did not know that.
I had a conversation about with Kobe about this one day. One of the days I was lucky enough to be around him. I just said that, and he was like, "Wow!" I was like, "I got Kobe to say wow."
That was instant credibility.
But yeah, it's kind of a crazy thing that it's Chick Hearn, and it's Rich Kleiman. Rich Kleiman and I have the same birthday.
Wow, that is some NBA. That's some NBA royalty, like all over the place.
Like, I don't know what that means, but does it mean that Rich leaves all his money to me and Kevin Durant's money after that?
I'll tell you what it means is you really ought to get
legally. And you weren't born here, so you may not be familiar with all of our laws. Yes, that is exactly what that means. Rich Kleiman owes you all of his money when he dies.
Some would say these are very controversial rules in this country.
Strange.
Also, I We share a birthday with Bruce Lee, November 27th. Does Bruce
Oh,
also leave me all his money?
I think the statute of limitations has run out on that at this point.
keep working on climbing. If nothing else, you ought to work your way into a joint birthday party with Rich Kleiman, because that could be a hell of a party.
God, no, we're not doing that.
You know who else was born on your birthday?
Cool.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Wow, Bill. See, a lot of kids grew up on him here. I did not grow up here, but I do know who Bill is, and I'm a big fan.
Robin Givens, the actress. Jaleel White. You know who that is, right? Urkel.
Jaleel. I met Jaleel at the 2K launch last year here in LA. Shout out Ronnie. Ronnie 2K.
Yeah, let him know that when he dies, he owes you all of his money. This is the following people owe you their fortune. Bill Nye, the Science Guy, who's made a nickel. Like, don't poo-poo Bill Nye's fortune. Jaleel White, he's got all those residuals from Family Matters.
Yeah. Actually did grow up on that. I grew up on Family Matters, Full House, and Fresh Prince in Israel.
Oh, this is a good one. The designer, Manolo Blahnik.
Love me a Manolo. Who else? Oh. There's another one that I'm missing besides Bruce Lee. It's a musician, but I can't think who.
YouTube star or Instagram star Sam Golbach?
Absolutely not.
I don't know who that is. Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, that's a hell of a birthday right there.
Uncle Phil.
He died at 27.
James Avery, Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince. You guys shared a birthday. He unfortunately is no longer with us.
Rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
A lot of YouTube stars, a lot of Instagram stars. That's the best I'm coming up with right now.
I don't know any Instagram stars. I'm the only Instagram star.
You know what? You're the only Instagram star you need to know, Vic. All these other people, they're just trying to be Victoria Jacobi anyway. So, I mean, you don't need to know them. They need to know you.
I wish I had like the mental capacity to post more. I get a lot of anxiety every time I post on Instagram.
Andy and I missed Instagram. It's like too late for us now. Like it's like you guys need to be doing better on so it's like I'm 45 years old and I have 3 kids. Like it's too late for me to build up an Instagram empire. Like that ship has sailed. I mean, maybe you're probably right. Would have been good 10 years ago to be ahead of the game on that. It's like it's not going to happen now. I'm sorry.
Now it's just, I do what Jay-Z does on Twitter. You know how Jay-Z just comes in when he launches something and he's like, please pay for this. That's what I do now. I only post if I'm getting paid.
All right. Well, speaking of that,
that's what
are we about to get invoiced for this show, Vic?
I thought I was getting all of your money.
Well, that's going to be disappointing, Vic. Oh. That's going to be really.
Neither one of us were born on November 27th.
Yeah, you should thank whatever higher power you believe in that you have different birthdays than either one of us.
I don't know if you guys know, but like I've been going hard. I've been working nonstop. I work all the time now. I don't even have a personal life. Not that I ever did. Ball is life always. But especially now, the last 6 months, I feel like it's just gotten so crazy. Like I'm not even thinking about, let me post, let me do, So it is what it is. But yes, if you are working on something and obviously you're getting paid and it's the brands that you mess with and you love to support, then yeah, absolutely.
In the meantime, we'll just all check in on the health of Rich Kleiman and see how he's doing. Godspeed, Rich. But let's talk about one of those ventures because it was, you mentioned Carmelo Anthony earlier. And like tonight is an interesting night to talk about athlete empowerment and player empowerment. And we can get into some of this stuff, before we're done here with, LeBron was asked both about James Blake tonight and, the officer will not face charges, but also the work that they did, the runoffs in Atlanta, the work the WNBA did, players did, mobilizing people in the runoffs in Atlanta and all that stuff. But there are other forms of athletes using their voices and kind of empowering themselves to just cut through, frankly, people like me and Andy, and go straight to people. You're working on one of those, and it's really cool. It's Through the Lens, and Melo's part of that. Break down what it is that is for people, because it's a really, really cool concept.
You know, I feel like we've done this so many times in the last few months, pre-launch and when we launched a few weeks ago. You know, the biggest thing for me always with work is I love building something up from nothing. I love being there from day one. And, you know, I was very lucky to be included in this project. Alex Bazell is the co-founder. And Alex is just one of those guys that, yes, he's very good at the game. He knows the game inside and out, and he's a very good trainer, coach, mentor, whatever you want to call it. And then when it comes to speaking about what this is and what this project was for him, it's really incredible. So I don't even know if I can explain all of it, but just from my side of, you know, like I said, being there from the start, it's the greatest basketball minds in the NBA. So we're talking pros, right? Just diving deep into everything they know how to do best. So you're learning from the younger guys, the older guys. Obviously, Carmelo Anthony is the co-founder. This was something that Melo was very excited about and adamant about. He wants to leave a legacy. And for him, this was a way to teach the youth, the next generation. You know, going into his gym since 2017, since Hoodie Melo Summer, his son Cayenne was there every time. You know, not every day, but every summer I would see you know, in different situations, instances where he would just work with his son one-on-one, straight up. After, like, the boys would do a run and then lights out and they're staying at the gym, and it's just him and his son, and it's really incredible to see. And so many guys are like that, you know, across the league with their kids, and it's a beautiful thing. Kobe was obviously a big one, and Alex was mentored by Kobe. And Alex also trained a lot with the Mamba girls. So that idea, you know, came to mind, and then Melo really took it to the next level. And obviously we have athletes like Trae Young involved, Candace Parker, Sabrina Ionescu, Nafisa Collier. So it's exciting, and I mean, the content is, I always tell people this, the content is what takes it to the next level. And everybody I've shown it to, even players that aren't necessarily involved directly, all really appreciate content like that. So for us, it's, you know, it's just teaching the next generation and giving access to, you know, kind of what Kobe did with detail, but from the players themselves,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It reminds me a lot of like masterclass, like, you know, right, for basketball. Like it's like, you know, instead of, you know, Steven Spielberg doing an hour-long seminar for you, it's Carmelo Anthony or Candace Parker or someone like that. It's really cool.
Would you want anybody else to teach you the mid posts? You know, that's just
not many people. No,
not many. No, there's not a lot of people on that list. So, you know, or Trae talking about his long range, like the kid can shoot from anywhere. Like we had some days in the gym, you know, he would come in and he like, oh, his ankle wasn't 100% or whatever, and he would still make from anywhere.
One of the things I think is actually really cool about the presentation with this, in terms of like athlete empowerment, but also athlete content creation, is how you get a look at how these guys different, you know, what they value in their workouts and the different things that they're working on and how they go about trying to perfect their game. But you also get a sense of their personalities too, and you get a little bit of an idea of their backstories. And, you know, I thought it was interesting how Melo talked about, you know, the need for the quickness of his release and where that came from, or Candace Parker talking about how one of her moves was really developed from her time playing overseas. And there's a lot that you learn about them as people, you know, not necessarily like in the same way that you would like a full one-on-one sit down, but you get elements of sort of what makes them tick beyond just what they work on the court. It's an interesting presentation. They talk a lot during it.
Yeah, they do. We had days where we shot gym stuff, obviously, but we always started with the interview. So you get to know these players. We had Melo in there for, you know, half a day just doing the interview stuff, which, you know, is great for me because I got to see the uncut version of that. Because Melo, one of the things about him is he's a very smart guy, and he knows how to articulate himself and his connection to basketball better than most. You know, like, it's just another level of this, and you can tell like he's been doing this for 17th year, right? So it's just a different dynamic. Then you have someone young like Trey, just completely different, you know. Same with Candace. Just talking about her relationship also with Kobe was incredible. And you know, that's another big thing for me. Obviously, Kobe meant everything to me, and you know, and obviously he's gone now, but I feel like this is something that would have made him happy, almost like in my head, right? I'm not speaking for through the lens or whatever, but that's just, for me, that's how I feel about it. So definitely means something, and it's cool to see how people have been receiving it. The reception has been incredible. So shout out Zach Harper also for writing that beautiful piece. But yeah, you know, and I feel like it's needed. Like I have an 11-year-old little brother who loves to play and was in the semifinals with his school right when COVID happened. And
Right.
he just plays 2K now on a daily basis because, you know, his sister got it like that, and he has all the so but yeah, it's just been really hard for him, but now he's on there all the time. He loves Trey. He loves any shooters. So Steph is his favorite, Kyrie. So the kids need it.
What do you think? Like, what do you think happens with it's one of these things that's I think is a really cool development. I wrote a big thing, you know, for some work I was doing on the side that really got into the ways that athletes have changed, like how they do their messaging, like and who they, you know, the you don't need to partner up with a network anymore. You don't need to necessarily, I mean, you can have brand partners. You don't necessarily have to have brand. There's so many different ways to do this now, even since you've been around. And obviously, you know, you're younger than us, but you've been doing this for a little while. You've been around players for a while.
Yeah.
What's different now about just the confidence that players have to, again, kind of bypass people like me and Andy who've worked in traditional media and just deliver the kind of stuff that they want with the confidence that they can do it themselves and don't need, Disney's permission on ESPN or something.
Yeah. Here's another thing about athletes. The confidence is there, right? So if they can be very good at one thing, they absolutely believe that they can be, rightfully so, very good at anything, right? So again, I think we talked about this last time on. The coolest thing about today is these guys have so many different interests, and they can actually get into it and make a business out of it and then build an empire like LeBron has. Imagine Dennis Rodman, right? The man loved to be out. He loved fashion. He had his own style. Imagine giving him all the open doors that, for example, a Kelly Oubre has. Kelly can sit at any fashion show in Paris during Fashion Week. That is a fact. And they will invite him before they invite a bigger name player because he's built that lane for himself. Imagine Dennis Rodman being able to invest in nightlife. You know what I mean? Like things that guys care about, they have outlets to do now, and they have complete teams that just are dedicated to that. Earlier we were talking about Baron Davis. Like Baron has built so many different companies and is involved in so many different things.
Yeah, we've worked with Baron before. He really has like a pretty wide, he's got a wide reach, and he's really, really smart, and he's creative,
Yep.
and he's somebody who likes to explore different spaces, and he's really been, to his credit, he's been really proactive about finding those different lanes.
Yeah. And I feel like, any guy can feel like they can do that and really build themselves up, which is, been amazing to see. There's guys that love music, like my boy Aaron Gordon has a full album, out there, and he's making music videos, working with one of the best producers out there also, who has Cardi B and all these big names, you know what I mean? So these guys are really tapping in and using there's always been a thing, with fashion, music, ball, and anyone that's high up, like, you go back to the big names, but anyone that has money loves sports in some way, shape, form. So, all of those things tie together. And if you bring all those powerful people from different powerful lanes, you really can build something. And I feel like obviously that's what LeBron has done with media, right, with Uninterrupted and Spring.
Right. Oh yeah,
it's an amazing job. And then there's guys that are starting their own thing, like Players TV with Chris Paul, and Kyrie's involved, in Melo as well, all these other names they have on there. So everybody is realizing that you have to start something of your own, and you don't even know, like, people don't even know half the money that's out there that players have in different businesses.
Well, that's actually LeBron this year has Space Jam, New Legacy coming out, and the release is going to be different this year, because of everything that's going on with COVID and the studio shifts and HBO Max, and it's going to be both simultaneously on demand and in theaters. But like, I don't know for sure, how good the movie will be.
Listen,
but I have
definitely be better than Wonder Woman.
That's what. Thank you.
I have been
Space Jam 1 is a garbage movie. It is.
I have been
terrible.
saying this for a long time. I mean, not that I don't think Space Jam is a good movie. I think the odds of Space Jam, New Legacy, or whatever, I don't remember that specifically.
It's Space Jam 2. It's fine.
Right, Space Jam 2 is going to be better than the original. I think the odds are strongly in his favor.
But I heard, Andy, that the movie ends with LeBron just calling the president a bum again. So I would 5 stars.
Well, they might have had to have an alternate shoot depending on how the election went. But I like, and to your point that you were making before, like, you've got these guys are more experienced with creating content. They're more experienced with breaking down scripts and actually, being a part of them. The technology is better now. Like, it's easy to forget, in the mid 90s, the idea of Michael Jordan doing a semi-animated movie with Bugs Bunny was like a wild proposition. Like, you'd basically seen like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Cool World, and this. Like, it was considered out there. LeBron is a more experienced actor than MJ. Like, he steals every scene he's in Trainwreck. He's legitimately funny.
Yeah, out of this.
Like, I think, like, LeBron has a better handle on how to do his version of Space Jam than MJ had on his. It doesn't guarantee that this one will be good, but right. I think the odds favor it's going to be way better than the MJ version.
Blink twice if you're concerned it might not be.
Me?
Vic.
What?
Just blink twice if you're concerned it might not be good.
Oh. I don't know if you guys can see me.
It's a sunglasses joke, yeah.
No, this is very somebody commented this is very Schitt's Creek, and this is very
it is very Schitt's Creek.
Baby.
The baby.
Baby. No, what were we saying?
The odds of Space Jam, the second one, this one being better.
Space Jam, yeah. No, I don't know. I'm not a big Space Jam fan. Like,
the first one was bad. The first one is a bad movie. It's a bad movie in virtually every way, including the way that the Looney Tunes are used. It's not even like the right way to like. It's bad for people like me who grew up with Bugs Bunny and all that. It's a bad movie. It's a bad movie. Bad movie. Bad movie.
Bad movie.
Bad movie.
Yeah, no. I also think Love and Basketball is a terrible movie. It's a terrible movie. Like if you watch Love and Basketball, it's just like
that is a much more controversial opinion.
I haven't seen it since it first came out. I don't even remember.
Girl literally is like a home wrecker. Like, what are we play me one-on-one? Come get this. Like, what? And I'm not the only one. There's a whole Twitter thing about it that it's bad. It's bad. It's a bad movie. Kids, don't
bad
go
movie.
In your
bad movie.
Backyard talking about marry me instead one-on-one. Like, don't do that. It's just terrible.
Jeez, Ben is still up and he's offended.
Ben, what did he say? Love and Basketball is cinema. Okay. All right, Ben. Can we mute Ben on this?
We actually can.
We can.
I'm not sure we should. We can. Absolutely.
But we won't.
We won't.
Well, it's Ben Lyons, man. Ben Lyons was the original guest on the Late Night Happy Hour. He's our first guest in both incarnations.
Favorite people.
Yeah, we can't mute Ben. We wouldn't mute Ben.
This is actually like just as a trip down memory lane. You guys keep talking. I'll pull this up.
You guys, I owe Ben a hat because we went to a Knicks game with the Fat Jew with Josh.
Yeah.
Like 5 years ago, and it was Lakers at Knicks, and the Knicks won.
Are you talking about Bryant about this picture?
No, that's Vic with John Ireland.
That's John Ireland for. Okay, why did Ben even send this in? I don't even know why.
Because he did.
Because he did. Because he's up. No, I was talking about this picture. This is your first appearance on our show.
You guys know I lost 22 pounds since that day.
I did not know.
Really? Good for you.
Yeah, you can see my fat face. You know why? Because I just beginning of a quarantine, I gained 10, and then I lost 22 total. So
nice.
That's awesome. Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thank you, guys. I pants again. That's good.
I am impressed that you're wearing pants. Like nobody wears pants during the pandemic.
Well,
they do when they do shows, Brian.
It's important. You should be wearing one now. Although only because you chose to sit further back on a couch. This, of course, is Vic on her third appearance.
Right. That's me. That's me next month, guys. I'm coming back.
Work schedule's tough.
With that haircut.
If you're 104 years old, you don't need to be messing around with a haircut that requires a lot of maintenance.
104. That's just a lot of years.
It's a lot. Yeah. It is a lot.
You're already old as fuck. Like, can I say that?
No, yes, you can. Okay. Most people ask first, but sure, yes, you can.
My thing is like, after you hit 70, it's basically hard to walk. So like you're telling me that I got to do 34 more years.
Yeah.
So you're one of those people who wants to be out by like 55. Like what's your?
You need to be here that long? Like I don't know.
Unless, so what's your max? Like when do you want to go?
Huh?
What's your max? When do you want to go?
I don't know. I'll go 81.
So basically like 10 years of bad walking and then you've had enough.
What? I'm going to swim. I'm going to be a swimmer because all that shit helps. Swimming helps.
Vic's endorsement of swimming. All that shit helps. Well, I'll tell you, I would invest in swimming right now if you're looking for a stock because it's about to rise with that endorsement.
Swimming helps.
I already got
on Vic on swimming.
Oh, by the way, Ben just picked up on it. Vic is a legend and will live forever. She said 81.
I got it.
I'm just saying.
On. We knew what that was. We knew it.
It's a legend, though.
I mean, you could have gone 62 after 3/4. I mean, that was pretty good.
I wasn't going to say, what other Kobe numbers do I have? I passed 24. Definitely passed 8. 33. But I need more time than 33. Don't kill me off at 33. God damn it.
Andy, do you have a target?
What? What happened?
I was just asking Andy if he has a target.
I obviously want to see a few milestones for my daughter, like high school graduation.
Right. I mean, but high school graduation gets you to like, in your case, 93.
Yes, exactly. You know what? There are times like our parents are in their 70s and like, in reasonable health. But even then, sometimes I look and I'm like, wow, that's like a lot. Like just getting around to a few places, like that's a full day. Like it really,
see, but there's
it's exhausting.
Doing it, they like jog every day and have like cool outfits and wear New Balances, like that.
Or as you say, swimming helps.
And swimming, I swear it helps.
Okay, well, I want to get to. I think my goal is to get to 80, and then everything after that, I feel like is butter. But I just before we go, I will say this: today, in addition to the news from Georgia and all this other stuff, it was a big day because the last known surviving widow of a Civil War veteran died today. She was 101 years old. When she was 17, Helen Viola Jackson married 93-year-old widower James Boleyn.
Wait, what?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
She was 17 and she married a 93-year-old widower who had fought in the Civil War. Then he died. That made her a Civil War, a widow of the Civil War veteran. And she died today. So she was the last person roaming the planet who had been married to somebody who fought in the Civil War.
Which side? Did it say which side?
It wasn't that specific.
Well, just
you want to tell me this, bitch?
No, Jackson had been providing daily care for Boleyn, a widower who served as a private in the 14th Missouri Cavalry through the Civil War. Border state, Andy.
I feel like if you're 17 and you're marrying someone 93 from the Civil War, it's very important that they were on a specific side of it. Like I feel like
she'd been providing daily daycare for him, and they fell in love. This is actually a very sweet story.
No,
sort of.
God, she was 17. The man was 93.
It's really not sweet at all, bro. Like it's actually criminal. It's not sweet at all.
Times were different then.
Like what?
It was a different era.
What year?
Here, so like I really you don't really learn much in the Middle East about the Civil War, right? So that was just like a lot for me to
take in. Yeah, again, this is why we didn't end up doing the state capitals game.
Like I thought, with the Holocaust and all that, being a Jew, like that's what
right.
I hear about a lot, especially in Israel. And then I was just so shocked at how, I guess, fucked up this country was for so long. Like people were just like okay with this.
We've got some problems, some kinks that need to be worked out.
It was really bad, right? For whatever that 8 years. But then now, the Germans are very like on their shit. They're like, we're not ever letting that happen again, right? God bless. Here it's like, you still don't like what? I'm sorry. It's just.
No, you have every right to criticize the current climate.
Americans being dumb, and then you're like, I'm in my little bubble in New York. Everything's fire. Everything's lit. So it's like, people get it because most people are not. They're immigrants, just like I am. So they don't really, And then you see America, or you hear about it, and you're just like,
we're working on it.
Yeah,
we're a work in progress. I think it's fair to say.
It's too many people here. It's too many people.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Dumb the good people down. You know what I mean?
Indeed. Yes.
I'm like, why would you think that slaves are cool, but also then, like, for this long you thought this?
Again, there's a lot to unpack with American history.
Back to why, again, moving beyond the whole morality of 93 and 17, I was very concerned with which side the soldier fought on. But
yes,
I just think it's crazy. I just think it's crazy that somebody was still alive that was married to somebody who fought in the Civil War. The math on that is really difficult to do.
Once you peel back the layers, Brian, I agree with Vic. It's not that sweet a story at all. No. It's actually pretty unsettling. It's a very unsettling.
I just really want to know how the girl made it out. Like how soon did he die?
It couldn't have been that long. She was providing like long-term hospice care, it seems like. I got to be honest with you. I question if they were really ever in love.
Okay.
I mean, when you were 17, was there a 93-year-old that you were like, that guy? I see potential there.
All right, Vic. It's been a fun.
Never
literally nothing on my list got covered tonight other than Through the Lens. That's where this conversation was, and that means it was good.
I was reading romance novels and staying in. I don't know. I never really 17. Like my high school was very aggressive. You know, we were on the Upper East Side. It was very wealthy people, and people thought, you know, it was Gossip Girl because Gossip Girl actually shot on our block many days.
If you had been dating a 93-year-old, they would have been talking. For sure.
Somebody noted that this is like, that would be like Strom Thurmond's marrying a high school senior. Monty 10 notes that on the chat. Strom Thurmond, Vic, was a senator, I believe, from South Carolina, who was a senator until he was like 193 years old. It was like super duper racist back in the day.
Jesus.
His son was when I went to college freshman year, son lived on my hall. Math on that was a little unusual too. So just as a little side note. All right, Vic, it's good to talk to you. It's good to see you. Welcome back to Los Angeles for however long you're here. I wish we could see you. We can't.
I always tell people are like, oh, so how long you staying? I have no flight back. This is how I live my life now.
Oh. Well, if you're around, we'll have you back. Like, stay in touch. Let us know. We love having you on, so you're always welcome.
It's Creek, babies.
Okay, baby. We'll have you back on, baby.
Baby. Why did she say it like that? I don't know, but it's iconic. It's so good.
It's
because
awesome.
She's Moira Rose. That's why she says it. Oh, want to let people know, heads up, the Land O'Lakers podcast, which I believe is going to drop tomorrow. Mm-hmm. We have a really good interview with Katie Rossman. She's a reporter for the New York Times, and she wrote a really cool profile of Jeannie Buss. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow. If you are not already subscribing to the Land O'Lakers podcast, what the hell is wrong with you? You can find it iTunes, Stitcher, the Believe podcast network, anywhere you would go to subscribe. So make sure to get that. Tomorrow, we are having on Bill Handstock, correct?
Yes.
Bill Handstock. We're going to talk some WWE. We're actually very excited. We've never had a WWE guest before, so this should be really fun. And we will see everybody tomorrow. Dank u, Nederland.